And we'd like to welcome you to our little chat this evening. I probably don't record as much as I should, but nobody's following the channel, so why would I? Let's talk about we're going to talk about a few things. Let's start by talking about the gangster Governor Abbott. Absolutely, pretty much laying it down with Pritzker. If Pritzker doesn't want to send in his National Guard, Governor Abbott down here in Texas is pretty much like, hey, you can have mine. I'll send 400 bodies up there. And that is absolutely a gangster move. But I want to warn y'all, that's the kind of stuff that makes it look like we're coming closer and closer to a more permanent division within our country. Now, when it comes to stuff like that, the left likes to point out, most of the red states take more from the federal government than they put in. But I'm going to point out why that's flawed right now. Y'all are ready for this? Where a company is headquartered is where a lot of that revenue is reported. Okay? So don't believe everything you hear. All right? New York, most of the money from New York is Wall Street. Okay? People trading stocks isn't an economic driving force like manufacturing is or farming is. And credit where credit's due, California, massive amount of farming, massive amount of produce comes from there. But what we've discovered down here in Texas is we really don't need them. Yeah, they grow stuff up there that we can't grow down here, but we're starting to corner their wine market. Because if you haven't had a Texas wine, it's time to try. First of all, we grow more varietals than they do. And a lot of it's just better. I have not had a California Tempranillo that tastes like a Texas Tempranillo. Speaking of which, that's what I'm enjoying tonight. But, I mean, this is kind of a weird thing, isn't it? Greg Abbott, the governor down here in Texas, he is fed up with these liberal governors. He is fed up with them. They clearly didn't get the message when he was busing illegals to them that this is unsustainable. So he's offered the Texas National Guard to the President of the United States. Now, the weird thing is I'm not even sure if he offered the Texas Guard or the Texas National Guard, because those are two separate entities. Texas actually has its own military force separate from the National Guard. Texas has a state guard that cannot be federalized because it is strictly under the purview of the state. It is not part of the U.S. military. And that is something people don't realize. If Governor Abbott is offering up the Texas Guard, that's going to be a funny thing. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but for legality issues, I would have to say that the best move the federal government could do in that situation is actually deputize them as federal law enforcement officers in some way if they're going to have them up there helping out with this stuff. That would be my advice to Governor Abbott and to President Trump. If you're going to use the Texas Guard, the Texas State Guard, not the Texas National Guard, the Texas State Guard, federalize them. Otherwise, It is the military of the state of Texas in another state. And that could be a serious issue. People outside of Texas who are doing commentary on this obviously may not understand that there's a difference between the Texas Guard and the Texas National Guard. These are two different things. So if that is in fact what the governor of Texas is offering up as 400 members of the Texas State Guard, of the Texas Guard, then the federal government needs to consider deputizing them in some way. So it prevents that kind of stuff. Next, let's talk about these clowns in Chicago. Pritzker and his buddy Johnson. Pritzker being the governor and Johnson being the mayor of Chicago. Brandon Johnson is a moron. He does not know what is going on. He's put his city in this position. Some of the lowest approval ratings by any mayor. Tiffany Henyard, America's super mayor. If you don't know who I'm talking about, look it up. There's plenty of YouTube videos on it. I recommend checking out Nate the Lawyer. But Tiffany Henyard had better approval ratings than Brandon Johnson does right now. And this woman's probably going to go to jail. Okay? That's how bad Brandon Johnson's approval ratings are in Chicago. But I want to talk just for a minute about the ICE raid on the apartment complex. So, ICE guys go in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., something like that. They pull a bunch of people out of this apartment complex, kick in doors, blow some doors off the hinges, and they arrest like 37 Trendo Aragua members. Now, during that process, they're clearing out the building. So, they are putting everybody in zip ties, and yes, that includes children. Getting them out, separating them, processing them, figuring out who gets to stay and who gets to go. And yes, that can take hours. So yes, some people had to sit there for 3 hours in zip ties, getting processed, so that the feds can figure out who's illegal and who's not. Now, some people are like, well, you know, the black people are clearly not members of Trendo Aragua. So what are you, racist now? Is that what it is? You're racist now? So black people can't be illegal immigrants? Is that what you're saying? And if you're in Chicago, you know who put those gang members in that apartment building. Don't blame ICE. ICE didn't put those gang members in there. Okay? Your mayor did that. Your mayor is responsible for that. He wanted them. He got them. He put them in your communities. And yeah, hey, the people in Chicago, they want things like daycare and safe community spaces and stuff. Well, how are you going to have any of that when you gave it all away to the illegal immigrants? Because that's what you did. And I'm tired of the lies. I'm tired of the lie that, oh, illegal immigrants, Medicare they don't get Medicare dollars. Because they do get Medicare dollars. I know it for a fact. I know they do. Multiple ways. One, notice the Democrats are only saying undocumented. They're not saying people who were here illegally. They're saying undocumented. You can't figure out what they're doing there? Because I'll try to explain it to you. I don't know, I'm a simple man, but I'm going to try to explain this to you in terms you can get. Okay? Here's what it is. Undocumented. Okay? So once you're documented, whether you're waiting for a trial date or something else, well, according to the Democrats, I guess you have a legal status of some kind. I see it a little bit different. Until your case is adjudicated, you're still here illegally. We're just letting you stay until we adjudicate your asylum claim or whatever else. But if you did not claim asylum through the proper channels, the proper way, you still came in here illegally. Period. According to the CBO, we spent $1.2 billion last year on healthcare for illegal immigrants. $1.2 billion through Medicaid on illegal immigrants. But these clowns are out there telling us that no, this didn't happen. These clowns are telling us that's not what they're fighting for. No, that is exactly what they're fighting for. People don't want to believe it, but I know it. I've seen it. That's what they're fighting for. That's what they want. That's what they want to do to all of us, okay? They want to bankrupt this country. They want to bring in more people that they think are going to vote for them. The funny thing is many of the descendants of the people who were part of the Reagan amnesty, if you look at the voting trends in the Hispanic population, many of them are starting to vote more conservative. Many of them voted for Donald Trump. And I don't know a single Cuban who's going to vote for a Democrat. Every Cuban friend I've had has looked at the Democrats and been like, that's the same crap we got away from. Why would I vote for those people? I don't do Cuban accents. I do a lot of accents. Eventually I'll do some on this channel, but that might give away who I actually am to some people. And if anybody I actually work with ever tunes in my channel, so not that they're not going to recognize my voice, but I start doing all the other voices I do, they're going to be like, oh my God, I know who this guy is. Anyway, Pritzker and Johnson are jerk-offs. They just are. They don't know. Well, no, they do know, because this is what they want. See, they want to keep the black people in their districts poor. They want to keep them dependent on the government. They want to keep them dependent on the Democrats. That's why they had no problem bringing illegal immigrant gangs into their communities. They didn't put them in there where they live. How many illegal immigrants are hanging out in Pritzker's neighborhood or Johnson's neighborhood? None. Zero. Zilch. Absolutely none. You know why? They don't want them there. They want them in the poorest communities, making the poorest people poor, making the poorest people more afraid. That's what they're after. And frankly, I'm fed up with it. Tired of it. I can't handle it. Just can't. Tired of people being abused, manipulated, and mistreated. And the funny thing is that the left tells you that's what Trump's doing, but no, that's what they do. They're the violent ones. More than 60% of Democrats think it's okay to use political violence. More than 60%. It's less than 20% of Republicans. Lord help them if we change our mind. Lord help them if the conservative people in this country decide to start showing up places in masks like they do. Because if we start showing up in masks, they're going to run for the hills. And I do not condone violence of any kind. I do not, especially not political violence. Well, no. I'm more of a Crowder guy when it comes to that. Lawful, legal, defensive violence. Lawful, legal, defensive violence, I find perfectly acceptable. I absolutely do. I had some other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I forgot what it was. I want to shout out Tommy out there in Portland. if any of you have been watching the live streams, Tommy's out there regulating out there in Portland, and I hope he keeps safe. He got arrested last night for knocking somebody out after he was assaulted. But see, that's the problem. The Portland PD is in the pocket of Antifa because they have an Antifa governor and an Antifa mayor, and that's what all they care about. They care about their left-wing agenda. They're not even liberals. Okay, they are what they call us. They are fascists. They believe in shutting down other people's speech with violence. I don't see the right doing that. I absolutely do not see the right doing it, and I'm tired of being told that we're the ones doing it, because we do not. We are not the ones doing it. It's them. It is them. They are the guilty parties. They use violence to shut us up, to shut us down, and I'm fed up with it. Look, y'all, I could probably keep ranting about this for another 30, 40 minutes, but I'm not going to do that. Love y'all. I got love in my heart for every human being, even those I disagree with and don't even like, but I still got love for you. Good night. God bless. Remember, I am a Christian. I am a conservative. I will not be silent. I am Charlie Kirk.